Greetings, this is Christine Bundy on Indiana, and this call is for Wednesday, August the 2nd, 2023. We're continuing with Brett Allen Winter's Declaration of 76, United States Constitution, a common lawyer comments, clause by clause. And today's reading, first we're going to go through the previous last week's homework for going through the questions, and then let's see, we'll go ahead and change it up here, so we'll get to, all right, so we'll get our display, everything going here as it needs to, and let me adjust this so it's a little bit, make sure you're getting the whole view in this. Alright, and we'll make sure that, I'm not sure what that is. Okay, let's see, not exactly sure what image that is. Maybe that's it. Nope. Let's see. Alright, not exactly sure what image that is, but we're going to just go ahead and keep going. Alright, so we went through here is the link for the reading, for the audio portion of it, the link for the study guide and book for purchase. And we went through pages 50 to 55, so we'll go ahead and get through these. So the first question, let's get these where you can share here. Alright, so we have these study guide questions. Alright, and it went to number 28 here, pardon. Okay, he has constrained our fellow Christians, he has constrained our fellow citizens, taken captive on the high seas, to bear arms against their country, to become executioners of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hands. Here are declaration charges, King George, with common law kidnapping, slavery, and murder. All felonies justifying the meeting of force with force. Clause 29. He has excited domestic insurrection among us. What was the July 6th? That's an insurrection, but that was an insurrection by who? Wasn't what the narrative of what they're trying to say. But again, that's part of their role, right, is to blame you for whatever it is they're actually doing themselves. And has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers, the merciless Indian savages, whose known rule of warfare, undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. And what are they doing right now? They're trying to destroy literally kill the children and kill those that are already that are elderly. Right? They're trying to morph out the sexes, and they're creating false conditions. Right? Alright, so, in fact, let's see where this one. In fact, the Indian tribes often fought with the Continental Army, striking into the redcoats' hearts. Fear. Fear. That's what they work with, is fear of the red man's bow and tomahawk. Because that's all they know are fear tactics and bully tactics. Because every time a truth or evidence is put in their face, then they have to try some other kind of fear tactic or attack you personally. We're bringing this to an end. Okay, we're moving forward, and we're coming in with fortified spines to stand up to all this nonsense. Clause 30. In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only with repeated injury. Okay, where is this next one? Irritated king and parliament. What did they decide to do? Oh, well, we'll go ahead and we'll ban British American colonial assemblies. So see, that's because the mafia was big on its own. They wanted to become the mafia. So they took out the mafia so that they could become the mafia. Right? It's not the mafia if they're calling themselves the government. The colonies submitted to the common law's requirements of diffidiatio, never reacting in rashness, but in patience, petitioning the British, reminding them of their breach. While they're screaming it's your breach, it's actually their breach. Clause 31. Nor have we been wanting in our attentions to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislature to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of the circumstances of our emigration and settlement here. And that's a good word to look up in your dictionary, because while we're hearing a lot of the word immigration, look up the difference, look up the two words, immigration and immigration. Okay? There's that word twist play that they don't want you to catch on to. 147, the colonists, by exhausting their appeals, followed due process, show regret that the British responded only with abuse. British Americans feeling natural affection, their brother and kin, of their kinship with the British, had appealed to them in vain, as well as to Parliament, to persuade the king to relax his harsh, brutal actions toward the colonies. 149. Of Britain's empire, only the people of her American colonies had British kinship. Okay. 150, clause 32. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, due in the name and by authority, our intentions, due in the name, and pay attention to that, in the name. If you'll notice, by the resident is trying to get people to start using in the name of God, trying to connect things with that. So pay attention to how they're wording things. Do in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are and of right ought to be free and independent states. In this final paragraph, the signers declare that such dreadful dealings as those recounted demand that the colonies break ties of loyalty from Britain. That means here too, break your ties of loyalty from this de facto organization. They're not loyal to you. Stop being loyal to them. Stop being their informant. Stop giving them everything. You're giving them your own power. 152. In short, let's see. 152 is on this page. Let's see. In short, the signers. Let's see. There's a few on this one. Okay, so in short, the signers cinch our declaration. Okay, let's see where it's at again in here. Let's see. Okay, you'll be able to find it in here. In short, signers cinch our declaration with trust in God. We'll find it. And loyalty to each other. That's the keys. Right there. Declaring trust in God and loyalty to each other, pledging all God has entrusted them. The founders foregoing solemn appeal. Well, is here. Okay, so here it is. Here it was here. God and loyalty. It's the declaration. So it was at the top of this page here. Okay, so the founders foregoing solemn appeal and reliance is a personal matter, being an act of faith and firm reliance upon divine providence. On divine providence. As opposed to relying on self-justifying morality. Okay? But we never boast in our ability to protect ourselves. Let's see. But we never boast in our ability to protect ourselves, but instead confess firm reliance on the protection of divine providence. Providence is to trust the creator, the provision. Finally, the words, these free and independent states have full power to establish commerce, reveals the purpose of our Constitution's Commerce Clause, not to hamper commerce, but to establish it. 157, and for the support of this declaration with a reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. This sentence reveals that the subscriber's common object of trust is God, upon which they base on their power of contracting together. Okay, that completed the the Declaration of 1776. So the next pages in this work that we're going through are pages 55 to 61. I have the YouTube link here as well as the link for the book, and we'll go ahead and play that video. Alright. We'll get this situated. Okay, and we'll go ahead and play this. Declaration of 76, United States Constitution, a common lawyer comments, clause by clause, Brent Allen Winters. Last week we finished with the Declaration of 76. We are now moving forward with the Constitution. Pages 55 to 61. Our Constitution's whetstone. Comment. Taken together, our Declaration and Constitution follow the course of the common law. The Declaration delivering facts, the Constitution following with the applicable standards of law. The Declaration's facts aroused the applicable law. The Creator self-evident truths, coupled with King George and his cronies' wrongdoings, quickened the colonists to demand their common law. Our Declaration renders into words for a candid world such facts then being sharpened by battle. Simply put, Britain's treading upon the colonists' common law rights of self-government was not only real but pressing, as each signer took writing quill in hand. The reek of gunpowder hung in the air and his nose. Our Declaration's facts, in addition, are your whetstone for sharpening our Constitution's law against its targets, abusers of government power. Such a class never fears dull discussion of our Constitution, divorced from our Constitution's our Declaration's facts. But wet your words about our Constitution's limits for government on our Declaration's facts of history, and you will strike sparks of fear in today's abusers of government power. For this reason, common law, unlike civil law, stresses facts. Knowledge of facts among a people keeps freedom. Their great Creator, who does nothing in vain, has given them understanding and the desire to know. They have an indisputable, unalienable, divine right to that most dreaded and envied knowledge. The characters and conduct of their rulers, the public cannot be too curious concerning the characters of public men. John Adams. Our Declaration gave to the people that most dreaded knowledge of the tyrannical conduct and character of their rulers. These facts sharpened their wits to give you our Constitution so that you, upon getting such dreaded knowledge, will also limit abusers of power. Look about you and know that the abuses of those in power are like those of King George and his cronies. Now, holding this most dreaded king of knowledge, it will sharpen your wits to our Constitution, stirring you to act. Constitution for the United States. Comment. The foregoing title is not part of the original document. Early printers having added it, later printers have continued to do so. Thus, your commenter includes it. Our common law is both the lifeblood and backbone of our Constitution. Never let the scholars replace its lifeblood with dead doctrines, or the spineless replace its backbone with a wishbone. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Comment. The people is often mistaken as a synonym for democracy. It is not. It signifies, rather, that those bearing the common law duties of the militia of the several states, grand juror, petit juror, and if able-bodied to carry arms to execute the laws of the Union, suppress insurrections and repel invasions. U.S. Constitution, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 15. Thus, the phrase, the people, denotes mankind's authority undergirding the individual states. Moreover, the phrase, the people, became common through English translations of the Bible's Hebrew phrase, maham, signifying those of Israel having the two fundamental militia duties. 1. Armed defense against enemies foreign. Jury duty in respecting enemies domestic. Thus, the people embrace not only landowners or the literate, but also anyone having shown a willingness to fill any of the above-stated militia duties. This preamble limits of the scope of our Constitution's use. Government has no authority beyond the 6 purposes the preamble lists, because any rightful powers of the general government come only from the people. It follows that if no one American or any group of Americans ever had right to do an act in question, then neither does the general government have that right. Further, any application of our Constitution that lets government go beyond the 6 purposes the preamble lists is unlawful. The people grant authority to government, which governs only by their consent. Thus, the people of the United States, not the states, ordain our Constitution. Although many liken our Declaration of 76 to Articles of Incorporation and our Constitution to corporation bylaws, the better view is that in fact our Declaration of 76 is a common law complaint to be decided, if necessary, in trial by battle or Constitution settles a common law trust. Indeed, the analogy to the idea of a corporation being Babylonian in origin and Roman in development, a faceless facade designed to enable easier powers that be domination and control of a people, is foreign to the common law first principles our Declaration of 76 and Constitution both rest on and affirm. Bottom line, attempts to make analogy of our Declaration of 76 and Constitution to corporate law is as unnecessary to understanding these writings as it is dangerous in applying them. Unnecessary because the principles of common law trusts govern these documents not by analogy but in fact. Dangerous because use of Roman law encourages the imperial doctrines and devices of imperial control of persons and thereby of their property. The grievances of which our Declaration of 76 complains have been decided, according to the demands of common law due process through trial by battle, in America's favor. And by this result, the right accrued to the Americans to settle the peace between them and the British in separation from Britain and their nation affairs in trust. Accordingly, our Constitution, by the words of its preamble, settles a perpetual common law trust by declaration. its settlers declaring themselves initial trustees, while providing for the process of appointing successors trustees in the body of the trust document. In fact, our Constitution's preamble provides the three certainties indispensable to the settling of a common law trust. 1. Certainty of intent to entrust rights in property or property in rights for the benefit of another. 2. Certainty of rights in the property in rights entrusted, enabling clear identification and distinction from other property. 3. Certainty of beneficiaries of the entrusted property. First, certainty of trust intent is seen in the preamble's words, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Second, certainty of entrusted rights in property and rights, is seen in the words to secure the blessings of liberty. Third, certainty of identity of the beneficiaries is seen in the words to ourselves and our posterity. Those people of the United States then ratifying our Constitution, and those people of the United States coming after them. Further, in addition to the foregoing three indispensable certainties to the validity of a common law trust, the settlers of this trust cinch its stability by articulating the trust purpose: to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty. And by identifying the trust settlers, we the people of the United States, at bottom, the people comprises the then members of the militia of the several states, those having ratified our Constitution. The initial trustees of this trust are the settlers by their agents, the signers of our Constitution, who have provided for the appointment of successor trustees in the body of the document called our Constitution. Finally, and of no mean importance to the continued force of this national trust, is the duty of the beneficiaries. Every whit is as necessary to the trust achieving its purpose as is the duty of the trustees to obey the trust indenture called our Constitution, to enforce the trust, that is, to ensure that the trustees fulfill their charge under the terms of the written trust indenture, our Constitution, according to the common law of trusts. Indeed, because Americans, under the terms of this trust indenture, are joint owners of the beneficial title our Constitution bespeaks, the common law of trust binds each one under a duty to protect this interest against all enemies, whether foreign, as a member of the militia of the several states by force of arms, or domestic, as a member of the jury by force of independent judgment, and not to be overlooked by protecting the legal title of the trustees. Beneficiaries protect their own equitable title because neither title can continue without the other. Finally, our Constitution does not claim to secure liberty, but to secure the blessings, benefits of liberty. Indeed, God has secured each man's liberty by creating each member of Adam's race with liberty, inextricably bound in his personhood. Hence, another cannot take one's liberty, but another can hamper, frustrate, hinder, and even stop the benefits or blessings, and thus the enjoyment of one's liberty. Thus is seen again in the need of the following principle of the interpretation. In order to know better the meaning of a text, ask not only what it does not say, Also ask what it does say. The preamble says the general government's power is indeed general, without discrimination among the states or the people in its application of the 17 powers and 4 kinds of crimes our Constitution lists, leaving to the states every particular power over the individual. End of the first section. Okay, so that is the reading. So we will proceed with getting you through the questions so that you'll have them to study with the video for the following week's call. Let me screen share. All right, so these questions are, and it began with our Constitution's whetstone. 1, taken together, our Declaration and Constitution follow the course of the blank. The Declaration delivering facts, the Constitution following with applicable standards of law. 2, our Declaration's facts, in addition, are your whetstone for sharpening our Constitution's law against its targets, abusers of blank power. Look up the word whetstone here, WHETSTONE, to have a better understanding of what the word means. Number 3, the public blank, to be curious concerning the blank of public men. John Adams. Number 4, look about you and know that the views of those in blank are like those of King George and his cronies. All right, and now we're getting into the first segment of the Constitution here. Number 1, our common law is both the blank and backbone of our Constitution. Never let the scholars replace its lifeblood with dead doctrines, or the blank replace its backbone with a wishbone. Number 2, we the people of the United States, in order to form a more blank union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blank of liberty. To ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Number 3, it signifies rather that those bearing the common law duties of the blank of the several states, grand jury, petit juror, and if able-bodied to carry arms to execute the laws of the Union, blank insurrections and repel invasions. Number 4, government has no authority beyond the blank the preamble lists. Number 5, although many liken our Declaration of 76 to Articles of Incorporation and our Constitution to blank bylaws, the better view is that, in fact, our Declaration of 76 is a common law blank, to be decided if necessary in trial by battle, and our Constitution settles a common law trust. Number 6, and by this result, the right accrued to the Americans to settle the blank, I think it's separate between them and the British in blank from Britain and their nation affairs in trust. Number 7, in fact, our Constitution's preamble provides the 3 certainties blank to the settling of a common law trust. 1, certainty of blank, to entrust rights in property or property and rights for the benefit of another. 2, certainty of blank in the property and rights entrusted, enabling clear identification and distinction from other property. Number 3, certainty of beneficiaries of the entrusted property. Number 8, third, certainty of identity of the beneficiaries is seen in the words to ourselves and our blank. Those people of the United States then ratifying our Constitution, and those people of the United States coming after them. Number 9, at bottom, the people comprises the then members of the militia of the several states, those having blank our Constitution. Number 10, the initial trustees of this trust are the blank by their agents, the blank of our Constitution, who have provided for the appointment of successors trustees in the body of the document called our Constitution. Number 11, finally, and of no mean importance to the continued force of this national trust, is the duty of the blank. Every whit as necessary to the trust, achieving its purpose as the duty of the trustees to obey the trust indenture called our Constitution. To blank the trust, that is, to ensure that the trustees fulfill their charge under the terms of the written trust indenture, our Constitution, according to the common law of trusts. Number 12, indeed, because Americans under the terms of this trust indenture are joint owners of the beneficial title, our Constitution bespeaks, the common law of trusts binds each one under a blank to protect this interest against all, whether foreign, as a member of the militia of the several states by force of arm, or domestic, as a member of the jury by force of independent judgment. And number 13, hence another cannot take one's liberty, but another can hamper, frustrate, hinder, and even stop the benefits, blessings, and thus the blank of one's liberty. All right, so it's official. We've already had the first combined General and Militia Assembly call. The General Assembly has been in session since 2019, but now we just started for the month of July. We started with we've had 2 calls already for the combined, where we're bringing in the Militia Assembly, and and on the alternating Mondays are the Jural and militia assemblies. So now we've already had the General, so it's being combined with the Militia Assembly call, so there's going to be militia training in that. And then the alternating Mondays are Jural Assembly and Militia Assembly, and that because the militia is uniquely intertwined as well into the Jural Assembly. And we have as our special guest that has committed to the training to support us in all of this, in bringing forward the 4 pillars for the assembly, and that is Joe on Kentucky. He is the Postal Area 4 Chief for our area. We are Indiana is along with Michigan, Ohio, and Kentucky for Area 4, as well as Joe is the PKTF Executive Director. So these calls are for, you are able to come on as a national with the bare minimum. You have had to have declared and presented to be able to at least be on the calls. But we're actually looking for those that are armored up and ready to actually participate, that are actually ready to come to the table and actually start giving of their service at this point in time. So, and the replays will be on the social media links listed here, so that you'll still be able to see what's going on if you're wanting to just keep up with what's going on. But when you're ready to actually start participating, you will have followed the armored up guidelines and the member agreement, background check, and so forth. All right. Again, here are the websites. Indiana has opened its Indiana State National Products and Services. I'm going to change that to Goods and Services. But the web page is athomeonindiana.org. All assembly stuff is still all the status correction is still on the indianaassembly.org. That's not changing, but the shop is on At Home on Indiana. And blog articles will start coming through on At Home on Indiana as well. All right. And due to scheduling using the scheduling tool that was put in play. Many were having difficulties with that. So another attempt of trying a different scheduling tool to help meet the needs to be able to make this happen, as cell phone calls are just not possible. That is not a comfortable support tool for me, in that it takes me a long time before I trust someone enough to communicate with them on a cell phone, because my personal direct experience has been that those that want to push getting on a cell phone is usually because they're trying to manipulate me into some emotional twist. And that is not what I'm here to get the work done, not get caught up in all the emotional turmoil. So when you're ready to get started, if you have questions with with going through the status correction process, you're more than welcome to schedule with me here. As well as for faster service, you can email your questions, because I will be able to respond much quicker than probably getting an appointment scheduled with me. So I want to thank you all, and we will see you on next week's call with moving into Article 1 of the Constitution for Brett Allen Winter's book here. And I want to thank you all, and have a peaceful and loving weekend.